your first few years in Miami, you were coached by the legend Pat Riley, one of the best
Uh-huh.
all-time coaches and executives in the NBA. What was that like?
And
Can
that
you
was
tell?
great. Another wow moment. Somebody that I used to watch as a kid, with the Showtime Lakers. My parents were big Laker fans, so I knew a lot about Pat Riley. It's so funny because my mom used to take me to the summer leagues in LA, and we'll see Pat Riley, and she'd be like, "Go speak to him, go speak to him." And I used to always just be so shy to get up and go talk to him. So it was pretty funny sharing that story with him the first day they introduced me to Miami, my press conference. I told him the story like, man, my mom used to always tell me to go speak to you when I was a young kid. I was just so afraid. Now it's pretty cool to be able to talk to you all the time, anytime I want to here, being with the Heat.
And he was available like that? I mean, he talked to everybody, or was he more of a kind of a strict guy?
No, he was definitely available. The best thing with me, he understood the temptation of being an 18-year-old in Miami. So we had weekly talks. So he'd bring me in the office weekly and we'd just talk about life, just talk about things that, I should do off the court, giving me different books to read. So he was definitely trying to be that father figure for me and uh, just make sure I was doing well because that's a big investment. I was the first kid out of high school to ever go to Miami. They seen all the potential that I had in me, so they tried to do whatever they could do to make sure I was staying on the right path.
Hmm. And that's really cool to hear, coaches trying to develop that personal relationships with all of their players. More coaches should do that, definitely.
Sure. Heck yeah.
Um, Riley is also known as the ultimate motivator, and we recently wrote a story about the ice bucket in '06.
Yeah.
I'm sure you recall. Can you walk us through that moment?
Well, we was just getting our ass kicked, and you know, it, it was so crazy to just see how Pat can motivate you for 82 games and including the playoffs. Most coaches, sometimes they can't, get their words together to motivate their team when, you probably lost two or you're on a back-to-back. It's two road games. You've been on a road for 6, 7 days. It's kind of hard to motivate guys. So just to hear him every day come up with a different speech to get guys going was crazy. And then the ice bucket was just a whole nother level. It's like, yo, what's going on? What is he doing? Is anybody gonna help him out of there? Is he gonna drown? So then when he come out of there and say, that's what it takes to your last breath, everybody was like, whoa, like what? Like everybody went out there and I think we ended up winning the game by 20, 30 points. Whatever game it was, I forget what game it was, but
I think it was Shaq talking about how you guys were down 2-0 against the Mavs, and then you
oh yeah,
turned it around. Yeah,
exactly. So
that was
just to
amazing.
see him do that, just to see uh, how much he gave a damn about winning and doing whatever it took to motivate us. Come on, man, you'll run through a brick wall for a guy like that.
That's awesome, man.
Mhm.
Um, and he was also notorious for keeping his teams in shape and his practices. Um, were there any? I mean, I'm sure there were many scenes of guys throwing up or anything like that. Something like that. Were there any
Yeah.
anecdotes you can share with us from those times?
Probably the funniest one, my best friend Quentin Richardson, when we traded for him. When you in the summertime and you during the season and you talking to guys and they always ask you, so is it true? And it's always like, yeah, it's true. Like we really work our butt off here. We really do weight and body fat every week. We really are the best conditioning team in the whole NBA. Because if we're not running sprints, they used to have us on a bike for 45 minutes. So I never forget Q Rich coming in town. He was a little bit overweight and he was going to be our starting three guard. So the only way he could be our starting three guard, you got to meet certain criteria. And that's 8% body fat and whatever weight they told him. So, he worked his butt off. He was in the gym every day during the summertime. Some days on Fridays, they'll let guys go home and he'd just stay there throughout the weekend and get his work in. And I never forget that time, him running lines and you could just see him getting ready to just call Earl. That's what we say in America. Call Earl is throwing up. You just see him, he's slowing down, and just he couldn't even hold it no more. He just threw up all over the court and everything.
That's crazy.
And had to go sit on the side. And, you know, I never forget going up to him like, hey, man, it's real here, huh?
What about Shaq? Did he have any special treatment? Because he did have a tendency to get a bit overweight, especially in the later stages of his career. How did that work with Pat and him?
No man was off the hook with anything. Everybody worked the same. Shaq did the same stuff I did. D Wade did the same stuff I did. Gary Payton, Jason Williams, we all had to do the same thing, you know. And that's what he believed in. He felt like if you were playing at a certain number, that your performance level was going to be here, you know. And that's what he got guys to buy in. And that's why we were able to be a championship team. And that's why you see these Miami Heat teams being so successful, because it's a blueprint. This is what it is.
It's a system.
If you don't want to follow that, yeah, it's a system, it's a blueprint. If you don't want to follow that, you know, this is probably not the best place for you. And a lot of people know that before they even think about signing with Miami.